You've tuned into Tomcat Tales, the story of Ashland's legends from the gridiron, the court, the diamond, and beyond. It's a deep dive into Ashland Tomcat sports history. Now, here's your host, Mark Maynard.
Well, hello again, and welcome to Tomcat Tales. We are at episode number 5, and I'm here with Herb Conley, the football coach of the Tomcats from 1968 to 1976. We've gone through the 1972 season, getting ready to look at 1973. And to kind of put you in the mood a little bit, Herb, I'm going to tell you a few things that happened in 1973. Richard Nixon was re-upped for president. We had the Roe versus Wade decision was in 1972. Big thing people are even talking about today. Really big thing. 1973 was also the Battle of the Sexes, the tennis match between Bobby Riggs and Billie Jean King.
I remember that going on.
Yeah, and Billie Jean King beat him. So that was huge, you know. I know you'll remember this too. O.J. Simpson, it was the year O.J. Simpson rushed for 2,000 yards for the Buffalo Bills. Yeah. You know, he was just unstoppable that year.
Great runner.
Oh, my goodness. He just had the instincts, didn't
he? Yeah,
he was
a great player.
He played
for
USC in college.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was also the year the Oakland A's won the World Series. They beat the Mets, and the Mets beat the Reds in the National League playoff to get to the World Series. And that was kind of a surprise. The Mets were like 14 games behind in July and made a big comeback and got in the World Series and almost won it, but the A's won. And a couple of movies that happened in 1973. One was The Exorcist, and the other was The Sting. And of course, they're both pretty famous movies. But we're talking Tomcat football, and you guys are coming off a year, really 2 years, 2 great years. You're 10-2 in 71 and 11-2 in 72. Only lost one game to a Kentucky team in 2 years, and that was in the state championship game. We talked about that. Disappointing loss for sure to Tate's Creek, 16-7. But that was a great 2-year run, and that really, I thought that established the Herb Conley era. Really, from that point, nobody was questioning you anymore.
Exactly.
How did you feel that way going in?
Well, I didn't feel any pressure. I thought everybody had accepted the way I was coaching and what we were doing. So that was in the past.
Yeah. They're second guessing, but they're always second guess, I guess. But
they're going to second guess you. Even in '75, they second guessed me in certain games.
That's just the way football is. There's a lot of Monday morning quarterbacks, or Saturday morning in high school football, I guess. You've established some tradition too, though. Not that Ashland didn't have it, but I mean some recent tradition where teams they knew what the expectations were. They knew what the off-season expectations were. And you were pretty tough in the off season.
Sure, we lifted weights. Everybody had to lift. Everybody had to be there. If they didn't, you didn't play. I mean, you didn't. Now, if you was playing basketball, baseball, track, or something like that, we want them to be doing something, playing something, be competitive, staying in shape.
And if you weren't, you're lifting.
Yeah.
Or you lift anyway, probably.
Well, they were either run on my track team or in the weight room.
Yeah.
So we had a track for a team with ourselves. We had made the linemen run. And backs and people that didn't run the track meet.
I know you look at what they have now for weightlifting and all that. It's unbelievable. I don't know if you've been over there.
Oh yeah, I've been there. They got a wonderful weight room. We had that little place down there, but I tell you what, we got a lot done there. We had a lot of kids in there. We'd have sometimes 70 people in there.
Wow.
So I had to change it up. I had to bring the juniors and the seniors in on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, and then they.
Now that was under the stadium.
Yeah, it was under the stadium. You've been in there. You don't hold that many people.
Right.
But we worked out. And we had them in stations. They had to come. I blew a whistle when this time. We worked so long on a station. I blew a whistle, and I was in there working out with them. The coach. I made every coach lift weights except Bill Tom. He said he does not. He left one day. He got so sore. He said, "Coach, I don't think I can do this." I said, "Well, if you're going to do something just like everybody else," I said, "I'll tell you what. I want you to get the films down. The teams we played last year, break them all down. Where they run the ball, how many players they had back. So we start the season knowing more about them than they do us."
Yeah, that probably helped him long run more than anything, exactly. Because of course he became a head coach later, at Raceland and Ward County and places, and obviously. Film was big.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, film, and of course he knew that, he got where he's pretty good at too.
Yeah, you had some good coaches. You had Bob Force, who was with you forever, it seems like, and Mike Holdzapfel was on that staff, and of course Bill Tom was as well.
Yeah, Mike come in from Raceland, coached down at Raceland, played at Notre Dame.
Right.
Good coach, very excellent coach.
Yeah, great line coach.
And great, he really was. And I kind of hated that he, you know how things would go in football or most schools. You go for so long a period, 2 or 3 years in a row, you're good. Then you kind of go down a little bit, and then you have start back up, and the program.
He hit the lull, didn't he?
He sure did. He sure did. It was and I thought they were going to be. I thought, to be honest, his first year, I thought they were going to be a little better than what they were.
Yeah.
But changing coaches and personalities and different things people do.
It's hard, and you had such success. It was going to be hard for anybody to follow. Honestly,
well, I was just like he's just like what I was when I come
state
the state championship team and Jay Callum.
Yeah, I thought about your career, and your teams were in the playoffs 3 times, which I know people think now that's terrible, only 3 times, but you made the semis. Of course, in '76, and you made the finals the other 2 games. So your 3 times in the playoffs were pretty good. Yeah. I mean, when you look at Tomcat history, there's not that many teams that have actually gone even to the semis.
Well, they haven't won a region since 1990.
Yeah. So think about that.
Yeah. See, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And
y'all haven't been in the semis since they won. Since they won the whole thing in 1990. And 1990 is crazy, but that was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly. It's been a long time since we won a region.
Well, anyway, we'll turn the clock back again, 1973, Herb, and this team, you have some players back. You have, Kimbrell. Mike Kimbrell's back. Good player.
Yeah, very good player. Really good defensively and
great leader.
Great leader. Good leader.
You got Jerry Kirk, who played a lot on that team. You have a few other guys, but it's not a real senior strong team. You lost some great players, from that 72 team.
Exactly. That's the way when I started, we'd lost a lot when I first took over, and then we went through a bunch of guys, sophomores, and they come up to be seniors, and we had a real good season, a good team, played the state finals, and that's the way it happened. So,
and in this, you hate to ever say you're having to rebuild, but that's just the way it is in high school football.
Exactly. You don't always, there's some teams that don't, not like Highlands. Highlands do sometimes, because I remember me talking about wanting to play them, and they weren't doing as good, and they didn't want to play us. So
there's some down years for everybody.
Everybody has their down year.
And I know you're still not expecting a down year. You're expecting to win.
No, I looked at what we had coming back, and on this team here, we had I counted out about 32 players that I thought could play. Now they needed a lot of work done, but they were kind of athletic and good kids, hard workers, and I really felt like that was going to be a little better season what we ended up with.
Interesting though, you really were short on the running backs. I mean, people who with experience at least as far as runners, and but you got a couple of new guys that kind of came out of nowhere. You have Hal Kendall, who was a track guy, hurdler.
Never played football, I don't think, in any sport, any other time, Little League or anything, I don't think.
How did it come about that he came out?
I don't know. We was looking for people to play. Timbo Howard, Bill Tom knew him up at California. He said, Coach, you want me to try to get him out? I said, what can he do? He said, well, he's telling me. He said, not bad, but he's a little fella. And he says, he might help us. I said, well, get him if he'll come here to school. Well, he did.
Yeah.
And
that was kind of not controversial, a little bit, just because, of course, Catlettsburg was closing.
Yeah, and Boyd County would have had,
and everybody was everybody was going to Boyd County.
Yeah.
And, the kids from Catlettsburg.
Exactly. Well, he took a little heat, and I don't think they liked it out there.
I'm sure.
He was a good kid. And
good player.
Hard little worker.
Yeah.
And, of course, Hal Kendall was a track man. And rushed for over 900 yards.
Yeah,
that's pretty unusual.
Yeah, he was fast and
great speed, and run straight up.
Yeah,
and he took some licks, but he was a tougher for a track guy. He was really tough.
Oh yeah, he really was. I remember him running and like you say, just that straight up style. I mean, because he'd never played. I don't know if he maybe played in Little League. I don't know, or played in junior high or something, but. He hadn't played for the Tomcats yet,
yeah.
And so I guess you just never know. Sometimes it works out. This year was much like 70 though, except a little bit different because you're coming off two really not good seasons. 68, 69, and 70 was like, oh no, and you're playing a lot of sophomores.
Yeah.
I'm reading some sophomore names on this team. There's Terry Bell. There's Chuck Anderson. There's Greg Jackson. There's some players that
Casey Jones.
Rick Sang. There's some players that we find out in a couple of years, really this year and next, who are pretty good.
Exactly right.
Did you see? Because I know you watched the Cole Putnam teams and things. Did you see that group and say, "Wow, we got another good group"?
Yeah,
coming?
yeah. We looked at it. We went over and watched. I always watch that Cole Putnam game, but we'd heard about them a little bit before, and first time we saw them, they were pretty good sized kids then. This needed like Casey. He was pretty tall, about 6'1", and Bell was about 6'1". Of course, when they played, I think Casey weighed about 230 something. When he played the junior and senior year.
Yeah, Casey Jones you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
And he was bigger than what we put in the program. And Terry Bell was a good size.
Yancey Ramey was big.
Ramey was big.
Yeah. Terry Lewis.
Terry Lewis.
Great blocker, man.
And Raymond Hicks.
Oh, yeah.
So Raymond didn't play in that state championship game when we played.
In 75,
75.
Yeah. Well, this, of course, you're going to have to probably play some sophomores and some juniors. This is going to be more of a probably rebuilding type year. You guys opened the season against Franklin County on the road. It's unusual to me that you played so many road openers. It's I don't know just how it worked out.
Yeah, that and plus that's the only body we could get to play.
So you had to take what you could get.
Yeah.
Franklin County, Central Kentucky team, a tough, hard fought win. You beat them 20-14. Hal Kendall makes his Tomcat debut and rushes for 77 yards. And Timbo Howard rushes for 43.
Exactly, that's our two recruits.
So here's here's the new guys, getting the job done. I know the previous season you split between Kimbrell and Kirk, Mike Kimbrell and Jerry Kirk at quarterback. They it's like nobody really established themselves too much.
Exactly. I tried to work it in. I wanted to settle in on one, but one would have a good game, the other than bad. It seemed like they just trade it off.
And they were both great defensive players.
Super.
So they're going to play, and they're probably going to play both ways. Yeah. But I think Kimbrell got most of the snaps at quarterback this senior year. And he was natural leader. We talked about that a little earlier on the earlier episode. But Mike was a good leader.
He was a good leader both ways, defense and offense.
Right. So he's definitely somebody you can count on. So we go on, and there's a kind of a rude awakening in game 2. You're playing Lexington Lafayette, and Lafayette wins 38-0. And I'm sure you probably don't remember much about that game except it was bad.
I know they wore us out. They run an option play. They ran it on us all night. And we just had trouble stopping it.
Yeah, didn't make the adjustment or made the wrong adjustments.
Made the wrong adjustments.
Yeah, and when you do that, boy, you just shake your head and when a team, how frustrating is it as a coach when a team just keeps running almost the same play and you're not stopping it.
Well, it's you wonder what we substitute different people to get in and see if we could change the problem, and it didn't work that night.
Yeah, 38-0.
No matter who we played in there was not getting it done.
That's a bad loss. That's one of your worst losses, really, probably. In your coaching career.
Other than Highlands.
Well, we don't talk about Highlands anymore. We're done with them. So you come back and Hal Kendall in that game, he rushed for 80 yards. I mean, he has taken to this running game, isn't he? I mean,
he was for a guy that just played first time in high school. He did a great job.
How tough was he inside?
Well, I don't know if we ran him inside much. I don't know. I think I kept him
off tackle or outside.
Because get in there mixing up. You get I didn't want to get really hit real hard in there one time. He quit.
You had a fullback, Rick Smoot, who was pretty tough and strong.
Yeah, well, Rick was he was a guy you could put in for a play or two, and then he could, if you get ready, he could get 2 or 3 yards for you.
So you ran the wishbone with this though.
Oh yeah, we ran a wishbone.
Always ran the wishbone.
Always ran a wishbone.
Yeah. So this was so you probably had Howard and Kendall at your running backs and at your halfbacks and Smoot, I guess,
Smoot was
her
in there.
grandson probably at
Yeah.
fullback, and
we alternate people.
You
in
had a
there.
lot of people,
We had
yeah.
Mike Cawthon run a few in there. We had different people run in there because
Right.
we could never settle on a fullback for
right. And as we talked before too, fullback's so key in that wishbone.
big key.
Got to have that guy.
That's where we really were needed. Somebody could come in there and run that spot and
Run those.
that dive
That
in
dive
there.
play,
You got to
yeah.
make sure you get 3 or 4 or 5 yards
Right.
every clip.
You come back though, and this game the fullback actually did a great job. Smoot, he had 82 yards rushing against Meade County, and you all squeak out a 12-8, and that's the home opener. Always great to win the home opener at Putnam Stadium.
Yeah.
That gets the fans behind you a little bit, because you're coming off a stinging loss there in that second game, and people were probably not too happy. So you come back and you beat Meade County 12-8. And then comes Harrison County the following week, and that's a home game. Always tough. Harrison County, we've kind of set the stage with them. You coached there, and they had a great program going back then.
Exactly. Bill McKee was the head coach there, and he did an outstanding job. But I think at that time, that year, that he didn't coach there, and one of the assistants took over.
Okay.
And so they kind of
rebuilding a little bit there.
Yeah.
So you win that game 20-7. Hal Kendall again, 113 yards, his best game yet. And Timbo Howard goes for 57. So the new guys continue to make a statement there. The next week you play Hazard, and I know that game had to be you had to look forward to that one. I think it seems like you played Hazard maybe. Yeah, you played Hazard the year before too.
Yeah.
And this one's at Putnam though, and of course Hazard became kind of a little rivalry just because they wouldn't play back in '71.
Because there's where our problems and their anger really got with
Yeah.
Hazard.
Of course, these guys maybe not remember it, but,
No.
but you didn't forget it.
No.
And you beat Hazard. So really, you beat Hazard 28-8. Hal Kendall gets nearly 200 yards in that game.
194.
I mean, he's becoming a star.
Yeah.
Not just a player.
Exactly. Look at them. He rushed for the entire year.
His numbers are fantastic. So at this point, Herb, the Tomcats are 4-1. And looking pretty good, really. Lafayette was clearly a better team, even though you couldn't stop the option. But, they were probably the better team, obviously,
they were.
38-0. So you're going back to Lexington, and it's another bad night. Bryan Station this time, one of the few times Bryan Station beat you, actually, as a coach. But they laid it on you that night, 40-6.
They gone in, it was pretty good.
Yeah, 40-6, and Kendall and Gothard were the leading rushers that day, 47 and 34 yards respectively with them. So now you're 4-2, and you're coming back home to face Ohio County. One of the few times I think Ashland's ever played.
Yeah,
Ohio
I guess that's
County.
the only time we've ever played them.
I think it probably is the only time. But what a great game. 22-16,
Yep.
Certainly a game you could have lost, but you didn't. Hal Kendall goes for 116 yards and a pair of touchdowns, and you beat Ohio County by that one touchdown margin, 22-16. So this season's really not looking too bad. Really, and you still have some rivalry games coming up, and it's really it's looking pretty good. And then along comes Russell, and I know you don't like them, and you hate to lose to them, but this one
was the second worst loss I ever had to them.
Yeah.
The first one was when they beat us 7-0.
When they beat you the first time.
Yeah, first time
ever.
they ever beat us.
And this one was 28-zip.
Yeah.
Mike Kimbrough talked to him on social media, and he said that was the worst night of his life, is what he called it.
Yeah.
And he said those Russell people were chirping the players every quarter. They were letting them know who was ahead. They were just letting the Tomcats have it.
Well, I have probably had a little bit to do with that. Before the ball game, I always talked to the players, and I didn't know they could hear from where we are on our side and their side where they're dressing. I didn't know they could.
The field house there.
The field house, and so I always gave a little bit of talk, and I was talking about how we're going to hit them. I want them to hit them. I want to lay it on the field. I said they're not real tough. You just hit them, and well.
They were listening.
They were listening every word after the ball game. Because I don't know if it was after the game, but a couple weeks after that, I run in a couple of their players. The coach, appreciate your talk the other night at the ball game. Said, fired us up. And I asked different ones. I said, yeah, they can hear what you say. I said, boy, I didn't know that.
Would you have changed your tone a little bit?
Yeah, I'd have talked lower.
You still said you want to hit them, though. I know you would have.
Yeah.
Herb, how important do you think motivating the team before a game was?
Well, I tell you what, I sometimes I think it's really good. Sometimes it depends on if they're fired up. They're really ready.
And you could tell, right?
Yeah, I think I could.
In pregame,
in the week of practice.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I always talk to them. Went over the past players, their dads and moms, and watching them. Mm-hmm. You're performing for a lot of people, student body, the people played before you. I just went over a lot of stuff with them, and I tried to get to hit it a little bit on that every ball game.
Okay.
Because I want them to know the purpose of this. Getting after people, winning and winning big if we can, because we want to be considered the best football team that ever played around here, and that's what it used to be. It's a hard. These guys that played many years ago, they sure built a tradition that's hard to follow. You went 7 years in a row and didn't lose a ball game and won a national championship. These things are big. Like I was telling you, Tony Love, Vic Marsh, buddy, they did a super job of pushing that.
Yeah, of playing off that and saying,
playing.
You're playing. You're not just playing for yourself. You're playing for the tradition.
Exactly. You're playing for the tradition of the school.
Right.
But that tradition means a lot.
Yeah.
That's where we got started, and that's how people talk about you. And that's what people expect. You play that way.
Yeah, and when those guys, you try to make eye contact, right?
Oh yeah, I made eye contact with them.
And I know they knew you were mad when that nose squinched up. It was trouble, wasn't it?
Yeah, they knew when I was upset.
It was a different era of coaching too. You don't see them getting up close and personal like that anymore.
Well, see, back then you could grab them by the face mask. But see, I wasn't always chewing them out a lot of time. I tell them I loved them.
Yeah.
You didn't know what I was telling them half the time. And so parents and people thought and I'd tell Chuck Anderson, I'd Chuck, I'm going to hit you the side of the head as hard as I can. I think I'm beating on you. And I said, I want you to hit them players just as hard. And I'd hit me harder.
Yeah, I'm sure Chuck was like that. Well, kind of interesting. I didn't mean to chase that rabbit, but so you're at that point now. You've lost. You lost to Russell 28-0. Those are hard to get over. In that game, they did stop Kendall. They must have they must have clogged the outside or something because Gothard was your leading rusher with 52 and Jerry Kirk had 38. Kendall's not listed, so I don't know what he had, but it's probably obviously is less than 38. So probably his lowest rushing game, to this point. But still, a good season still ahead. You have you got Hayneton High, your old nemesis, the team you get mad about every time you coach against them, and you're going up to Fairfield again. I know that's a place you probably just soon not see again. And another tough loss to them, 14-7. Remember anything about that one?
No, I really don't. I don't remember much about that ball game. We played up there, and Huntington High. I tell you, I think that might have been. I don't know if that's Bob Sing's last year or not. As the head coach, he went to Huntington East.
Yeah, it might have been. It was close in that time.
Yeah,
I think you might be right.
I think that was it.
And Kendall had a good game, though. He rushed for 71. Howard rushed for 52 in that game. So now you've lost 2 in a row and 3 out of 4, and probably the fans are probably, I don't like that.
Yeah.
They're not going to come after your head because you've had 2 great seasons, but they're not happy.
No.
They're not happy. And but you still have Boyd County ahead. You got to play Covington Catholic, and you guys had kind of set up a little rivalry with them.
Oh, yeah.
And, from the first time they even had a program, and you're playing them every year.
Yeah.
I can't imagine playing them every year now.
They were just, they could still do the same thing when I was coaching as they do now.
Yeah.
They could
pick from anywhere.
Recruit any place they did. Sometimes they did a good job recruiting. Other times they didn't.
Yeah.
But they were always good and always big.
At what point, or was there a point where you started playing some of the sophomores? Do you remember?
I don't remember exactly what point, but I know all those guys who were sophomores, Bale and all those guys.
Some of those guys were already playing, right?
They were playing.
Yeah.
They were playing during this time.
It wasn't so much rebuild, they were just the better player.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, I know Casey was starting, Terry Bell was starting. I'm not sure who else I was starting.
Chuck didn't, I don't think. Maybe Casey.
Chuck
Jones?
may have started.
Of course, Alan Mayo's on that team, another sophomore. Rick Sangs, did he? No, he didn't start till he was a junior. I don't think.
He started when he was a junior.
Yeah.
Terry Bell.
There's a few. But at any rate, you're going into these last two games. You're playing Covington Catholic. It's the last home game, and another hard fought game. And you guys pull it out, 14-10. Defensive game sounds like. Kendall rushes for 104. Kirk gets 50, and you beat the Colonels 14-10. And that's a good win, beating Covington Catholic.
Exactly. Anytime you beat them at home or away, it's a big win.
And that clinched a winning season for you. You're 6-4. And the game of the century's coming up, and I think if you had won, you were in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I mean it was going to determine the district.
Yeah, this was who goes to the playoffs.
This was who moves on, who starts basketball is what it amounted to.
Yeah.
So and Boyd was one of the best teams Tom Scott has ever had, maybe his best.
Yeah.
And in 1973.
Is that the year they got beat by Paducah?
That's the year they ended up making it to the finals, but they almost didn't get out of Cannonsburg.
Yeah.
You guys go out there. I remember there were so many people out there. I don't know that they could have put another person in that place. There were people all over that hill. There were people up standing behind the Boyd County stands. There was people. All the Ashland people were there. My goodness.
It was like that every game.
It was like
when Tom Scott.
It was like the Super Bowl or something.
Yeah, every game. Of course, but at that time, that was I think Tom's last season.
And now he had one more.
Oh, one more. Yeah, that's right.
The stakes were high. They were undefeated, ranked number one in the state, undefeated, and by all rights, they should have run you out of Cannonsburg. Talent wise, Cheney, Keelan, Delvisi, all those guys that were so good. But you played Boyd County, and I remember you got ahead of them. Wendell Fugit picks up a fumble and runs it 50, 60 yards for a touchdown.
No, Wendell was a good football player.
Yeah.
Hard-nosed. He's not real big, but he's a tough young man.
Had some speed. Huh? He had some speed.
Yeah, he had some speed. He's quick, very quick, and he's tough. He was as tough as anybody.
But he scooped up that fumble, and boy, all of a sudden, Tomcats are ahead. Boyd comes back. I think then you go ahead again, and we talked about this the other day. It was the fumble Rooski with Hal Kendall. Hal Kendall scores the touchdown. He lines up as a center with a number, I don't know what, 50 or 55 or a lineman number. He changes jerseys. And I had to probably check in, right? He might have had to check in and say you changed or whatever. And of course he snaps the ball to the quarterback who
he just puts it in quarterback's
hand. And then he doesn't take it.
No,
that quarterback
don't drop it.
And you're acting like a power sweep or something to the right.
Yeah.
And once everybody's momentum was headed that way, because they're looking for Hal Kendall.
Yeah.
They're looking for whoever the running back was.
Yeah,
it's probably Howard at that point. And all of a sudden, Kendall's got the ball, and there he goes, and he outruns them. I don't know, it's a long run. I can't remember how long, but he outruns for a touchdown.
Yeah, that one scored. See, that's the second time we ever run it. I think it was the first time we were in let's see.
So who called that play? Do you remember?
I don't know.
Who put it in?
Well, Hoseapple was talking about it one day in practice, and he said, "Here's a good trick play, Coach. You want to try that?" I said, "Let me see it." And I looked at it, and I said, "Yeah, that don't sound bad. We're getting the things that we need to run when it's close or something." And he said, "We got fumbled." I said, "We're not going to fumble it." I said, "I don't want the ball hit the ground."
Yeah.
He said, "Well, if they catch it, there'll be a penalty." I said, "Well, we deserve it. If they catch it, we'll take it." And
so the ball never touched the ground.
No, never touched the ground.
You snapped it. He held it.
Yeah.
And the quarterback acted like he had it, and then
he just turned around. But when he turned around, he turned to his back to the defense.
Yeah. So they don't know.
And then pitch like it was a pitch.
Yeah. So they're chasing that running back.
Yeah.
And Hal waits a second till everybody's gone, and then ain't nobody gonna catch him.
No, not on that night.
Yeah. So he ends up scoring. You guys go ahead. Boyd scores late. You were thinking Keelan maybe broke one off 50, 60 yards late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think it was about a minute and something to go in the game.
Yeah, and they end up, and they kick the extra point, and they win the game 14-13.
14-13, but I tell you what, the game wasn't really over at that time. We had about a minute and something to go in the ball game. We get the ball, and we get the ball, and I remember the ball being on a 35-yard line. We had about 20 seconds to go when we were running, I think it was third down. And so I run a screen bomb pass. And we run a screen to the left, which Jimmy Johnson's a fullback. Jimmy could throw it. He's left-handed. It's on the left-hand side, and so I called the pass. Willie Thomas, tough football player, good offensive end, good defensive end. And Willie got so far in the open, I mean, it's 20 yards in the open. All you had to do is catch it, and we'd be in touch with. But Jimmy, that ball slipped out of his hand. It looked like somebody shot it in the air. And I should have had it checked after the ball game, but if somebody shot it.
It just died, huh?
But it just started.
Wounded duck,
Wounded, just flipping around. And if we'd caught it, we'd won the game.
Wow.
So, but, it didn't happen. But,
wouldn't that have been a finish?
It'd been a big, good treat.
It'd probably been a ride out there. Because that was, of course, Boyd wins that game. They're undefeated, ranked number 1. And the next week, I'm pretty sure, they play Middlesboro out at Boyd County.
Exactly.
And Middlesboro stuns them, 28-14.
Yeah. What was it?
28-14.
Yeah.
No, actually, I'm sorry. That was the next year.
Yeah.
Because Boyd ended up going to the finals this year.
I think beat them.
That's right.
Good.
Boyd went to the finals. It seemed like I know they played Paducah. And they had some people hurt going in, much like you guys in 72.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Boyd, the Middlesbrough game was the next year. But Boyd, great. That was a great football team in 73.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Both of those, they just like us. We were in 71 and 72.
Yeah, had the stud backs.
You had people that could run, block. You had it all.
And they played good defense out there, always did. So, so this season, that was, that was a loss, but you know what? That was kind of I know there was no moral losses or whatever, in Tomcat football, but that was a good effort.
Well, it was good. It was good effort, but think about it, a loss is a loss, and
still stings.
It still hurts.
Yeah.
It still hurts, and even when you win, sometimes like that, you win. But sometimes you learn a little bit too. We didn't give as much effort, or we wasn't mentally as ready as we should have been.
Right, learn a lesson.
Or we was taking this team lightly.
Right.
We got to watch, or we're not going to be moving on.
Right. So the season's over. You finished 6-5, and I look back on this, and Kendall was probably maybe the story of the season as much as anybody really. A senior who came out and played football and had nearly 1,000 yards rushing, and. Mike Gothard, who was a junior that year, he scores 38 points. I mean, he's starting to establish himself a little bit for the future, and he must have been a short yardage guy for you near the goal line or something. Probably was. He probably had him at fullback some because he's a big boy. You have some promising sophomores who are now going to be juniors coming into that 74 season. I need to ask you about one more thing before we kind of close out 73. And that's the Bill Gammon situation. Bill died, and it was in the off season.
Yeah.
I remember I was a junior this year as well, but I remember the announcement coming over the loudspeaker that Coach Conley wanted to meet, want all the football players to come to the gym. I think they said, and they sent that over the loudspeaker, and of course nobody knew. That was early in the morning.
Yeah.
Do you remember all that?
Well, I don't remember. I remember that they'd call me, and the next thing I remember, someone called me at the house and told me about. And I don't even remember who it was. I was in shock, really was.
Yeah.
Said he was taking a bath.
Right.
In the bathtub.
Right.
And he always did. He had a radio going.
Right.
Some way, somehow, that radio got knocked off in there and electrocuted.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd always heard he was adjusting an antenna or something. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, we never did find out, or anybody said, because nobody was in there.
Right.
And but it was.
Well, that was, and then of course the football players, came back after that meeting, and that's kind of how the word spread to the student body as to what happened. Bill was a well-liked young man.
Yeah,
and
smart.
Yeah, very smart.
He was a good football player.
And a good football player.
Yeah, good lineman.
But that, and I know that's that not exactly connected to this, but a little bit. He was part of that team in '73.
Exactly. Well, he was a center.
Right. So anyway, that was tough. That was tough for sure. So anyway, 1973. That's it for it. The Tomcats finished 6-5 in your fifth season. And we still got some great ones ahead, Herb, coming up, and I know you're looking forward to them, and I am too, and I hope the listeners are. This was an interesting season. It was a good season. Had some good wins. Had a couple tough losses, probably 3 tough losses, and then counting Boyd 4 tough losses, I guess. But you know, the sun came up the next day, and the Tomcats got ready for the 1974 season. So we're going to be back with that in the next episode. We hope you've enjoyed Tomcat Tales.